Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on an industry that touches almost all of our lives, insurance. It can feel like a total black box sometimes. But by the end of this, you'll get the inside scoop on the core departments and see exactly how they all work together. So let's get started. I mean, think about it. You've been there, right? You fill out all those forms, you answer what feels like a million questions, you cross your fingers, and you click that final submit button. And then what? Where does it even go? Who's looking at it? What are they looking for? Hitting submit isn't just sending your info into the void. It actually kicks off a really specific, carefully designed journey inside the insurance company. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to follow that application step by step to see how the decisions that affect you actually get made. All right, so our journey starts right at the front door with the people whose entire job is to meet you, the customer. This is the company's first point of contact. Think of it as their digital or sometimes literal first handshake. So this first stage is really a 1-2 punch. First up, you've got the marketing department. Their job is to grab your attention. With a TV commercial or an ad you see online, they just want to get as many prospective applicants as possible. But once you're hooked and you decide to get a quote, that's when the sales department takes over, guiding you through the application and turning you from just a prospect into a real live applicant. Okay, so your application is officially in. Now we're leaving the public-facing side of the company, and we're heading deep into its core. Welcome to the analytical engine room. This is where the real number crunching happens and where the company decides if they can even offer you a policy and for how much. To really get what's going on in here, let's use a little analogy. Imagine your application lands on the desks of two different experts. One is a detective who investigates your specific case, and the other is a forecaster who's busy looking at massive patterns to predict the future. So the underwriting department, they're the detectives. Their focus is 100% on you. They dig into your application. They might do a little investigating, and they make the final call. It's either an approval or a decline. But then you have the actuarial department. They're the forecasters. They're not looking at you specifically at all. They're way up at 30,000 feet, analyzing huge statistical studies to set the rates for everyone in a given category. And that's the key difference. Underwriting decides on the individual, while actuarial sets the price for the whole group. Now, that quote right there has some pretty serious-sounding jargon in it. Morbidity and mortality tables. It sounds complex, I know, but this is the absolute bedrock of how insurance pricing works. So let's crack that code. So are actuaries actually predicting the future? Well, not for any single person, no. What they're really doing is using decades and decades of data about illness, that's morbidity, and death, that's mortality, to make incredibly educated statistical guesses. They figure out the probability that someone in a huge group, like say men over 50 who don't smoke, will get sick or pass away. And that calculation is what sets the price of the policy. All right, so your application has made it through the engine room. Underwriting gave you the thumbs up, the actuaries did their math, you're officially in, you have a policy. But let's be honest, the reason you bought insurance wasn't to go through an application process. It was for the moment of truth, the moment you might actually need it. This is the moment that makes or breaks an insurance company's reputation. A loss happens, a car wreck, a health problem, a fire. You, the person who's been paying your premiums, now need that safety net. And this is when a whole new department springs into action. The claims department has one primary mission: to fulfill the company's promise to you. When you file a claim, it's their job to process it, investigate the details to make sure it's a covered loss, and then, and this is the most important part, pay the claim. This is the department that actually delivers the product you paid for. So we've now followed the entire journey, from seeing a simple ad all the way to a claim getting paid. It shows you that insurance isn't just one single action, but this whole system of specialized teams all working together. So let's zoom out and see how it all fits into the complete picture. Let's just break it down one last time. You've got marketing and sales bringing new people through the door. Then you have underwriting acting as the gatekeeper, vetting each person to manage risk. The actuarial team is setting the prices for everybody using that big historical data. And finally, the claims department is there to make good on the promise when a loss actually happens. Every single one of these parts has to work for the whole thing to stay afloat. Because ultimately, that's what this entire structure is all about. It's a constant, delicate balancing act. The company has to take on enough risk by insuring people just to stay in business, but it also has this massive responsibility to be there, financially, to pay out those claims when its customers are in their time of need. And that leads us to a final, pretty interesting thought. This whole system seems logical, right? But just imagine the internal tug of war. The sales team wants to sign up as many people as they possibly can, but the underwriting team wants to be super selective to keep risk low. The claims team wants to verify every little detail, while you, the customer, just want to get paid quickly. Understanding how a company manages those competing goals, well, that's the real secret to how this business actually works.